Right now, let's go to Howard Kurtz. So Howard Kurtz, if you don't know, he hosts Reliable Sources, a show that critiques the media's coverage of the news, kind of a watchdog for the media. The problem is that Howard Kurtz is bad at his job.
He was bad when he was at the Washington Post, and he's bad now.
He just fails upward, right? It's like he's like a watchdog with very bad eyesight. He bites whoever knocks at the door. Doesn't matter.
He's a watchdog with rabies.
Yeah. You know, while your house is getting burgled, he's got his teeth into the ass of the mailman. That's Howard Kurtz, the media. So here he is. He has a panel on to discuss the Rush Limbaugh controversy. Okay, so here's how he starts it off.
This is part of what he does. He likes to stoke outrage and draw attention by saying things that are a bit over the line. This time, with the President of the United States calling this young woman, it seems to have sparked a greater than usual furor.
So Howard Kurtz still kind of puzzled about why this got such big media play. Yeah, this is what he does.
He went a little over the line.
This is what, let's listen to it again. Ready?
This is part of what he does. He likes to stoke outrage and draw attention.
This is part of what he does.
By saying things that are a bit over the line.
A bit over the line. So here's how his Republican...
Hitler enjoys a nice parade. A lot of people took it the wrong way.
Exactly. And here's how the media, so that's how the media watchdog saw it, the media watchdog Howard Kurtz. Here's how the non-watchdogs, his Republican guests, describe Limbaugh's attacks on Sandra Fluke. First up is former Bush speechwriter David Frum. Here's how he saw Rush Limbaugh's attacks.
I think that's about the worst thing I've ever heard on radio.
Okay, so there you go. Republican guy who coined the term axis of evil sees it as worse than Howard Kurtz does.
What is David Frum is doing the greatest 180 degree in the last year or two.
A lot of great articles,
Well, what happened was he started to speak the truth about what was wrong with his party in an attempt to fix it, right? You have to first identify what's wrong before you can fix it. And the problem is that they don't want to hear that stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. So as soon as he did that, as soon as he started speaking out against Fox News, I remember he made a very famously said that it used to be Fox News worked for us and now we work for Fox News.
Right.
So when he started to say things like that, they fired him from the think tank that he was working for. Was it I forget the name of the American Center for Progress I forget what the name of the think tank. It might even been the Heritage Foundation, but he worked at a conservative think tank, and they fired him. So you can't.
That's too bad for him because that's got to be the cushiest job ever to be at a think tank.
A think tank is a cushy. I just like to be able to say that at parties.
Yeah. I think all day long, and nobody pays me.
What do you do with the thing? I work at a think tank. Oh, are you kidding me? You can just see there. So here's a former writer. Here's Julie Mason, former writer for the Political. Here's how she saw what Rush Limbaugh said.
What he said was appalling. It's reprehensible.
Okay. So let's hear it. How did Howard Kurtz describe it again?
A bit over the line.
Okay. Again, axis of evil guy?
I think that's about the worst thing I've ever heard on radio.
What he said was appalling. It's reprehensible.
A bit over the line.
Okay. That's the media watchdog.
Should make a rap song out of that or something.
I could put it together, put a beat underneath it, and get Will Smith to go ha ha over it a couple times. And
would it be a meme at that point?
It might be.
And now, so here he is talking about media bias. Here we go. Here's Howard Kurtz talking about this in terms of media bias. Ready?
Sandra Fluke was all over MSNBC. She was on NBC's Today Show, as we saw. They loved that story.
They love it.
They loved that story.
Those lefties.
She was all over MSNBC. You mean someone at the center of the biggest news story, sucking all the oxygen out of all the other news stories, was interviewed on a news channel? Oh, she was all over.
They love that.
Oh, and then she was on the Today Show. They loved it. They loved talking about the fact that a millionaire bully who's employed by one of the biggest media corporations in the country was intimidating a private citizen and calling and sexually shaming her for speaking up for women's health. That's what he's talking about. She was all over.
As if she was a media slut.
Yeah.
And this guy that said these things is employed by the corporation that is owned by the front-running Republican presidential candidate.
You mean Rush Limbaugh?
Yes, he's employed by Clear Channel, which is owned by Bain Capital, unless I'm mistaken.
No.
That is what I understand.
You know what? I'm going to double check. We'll fact check that before we drop this show. But
Okay, I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I've heard that as well.
Yes. So Frank has confirmed that he heard it. So I guess that means
How is Romney at this point? Because if he is appalled by what Limbaugh says, he's going to be afraid to say it because he doesn't want to alienate the far right that he needs to win this primary. But if he doesn't denounce it, that gives the Democrats bait after the primary.
It's been
if he
a
wins
week
it.
and he hasn't denounced it yet, so I don't think that's forthcoming from.
Well, if the Democrats don't jump on that, they're foolish.
Yeah, they have been. I believe.
All right, let's get back. Here's Kurtz again. Once again, here's Howard Kurtz trying to talk about how the media covered Rush Limbaugh.
Sandra Fluke was all over MSNBC. She was on NBC's Today Show, as we saw. They love that story. Almost nothing on Fox News about this. So we see the choosing of ideological sides as to whether or not these slut comments were truly offensive.
Okay, let me break that down for you, what he just said. So there's a news story. There's a story in the news. A news channel covers that story. Another news channel doesn't cover that story because it doesn't fit their ideological perspective. And he says, see, it's just the only reason MSNBC covered it was because of their ideological
They're
bent.
taking sides.
Right.
Like we're on the side of covering the story.
Yes. So the only reason, so there's no objective, again,
It's
no
like
objective facts.
It's an equal thing.
The liberal slut protectors.
Yes, the liberal slut protector. So Fox not only didn't interview her, but they overtly buried the story almost as if they weren't really a news station. That's the story here, Howard, that Fox didn't cover that. That's the story, not that somebody did and somebody didn't and somebody loved covering it. The story is that a news channel that has the biggest viewership in cable news didn't cover that story.
Right.
That's what he should be complaining about. But he's like, see, if you're conservative, you don't cover it. If you're liberal, you cover it.
It's all split down the middle.